Have you ever wondered what it looks like to be right at the heart of one of the planet's biggest digital revolutions? Well, that's exactly where we find PT Solutions Energy Digital, a company you probably know better as Surge. They've got a massive mission to connect all of Indonesia. So let's dive in and see how they're planning to pull it off. First, you've got to understand their guiding principle for 2024. It's boundless innovation, fast and affordable connectivity for all. Now, that's not just some empty corporate tagline, right? It's ambitious, it's super clear, and it really sets the stage for the enormous task they've set for themselves. So, let's talk about that core mission. On the surface, it sounds pretty simple, connecting Indonesia. But the reality? It's incredibly complex. We're talking about building the digital backbone for a nation of over 278 million people, a population that is jumping on new technology at an absolutely explosive speed. And this is exactly why their mission is so critical right now. The demand for internet isn't just there, it's literally exploding. Surge isn't trying to create a market out of thin air. No, they're in a race to keep up with a market that's growing faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. And just look at these numbers. This isn't some one-time spike. This is steady, relentless growth, year after year. By 2024, internet penetration is expected to hit 79.5%. You know what that means? That's over 221 million people online. That is a gigantic market, and you can bet it's hungry for better, faster connectivity. So the big question is, how does one company even begin to tackle a task that massive? Well, Surge's strategy is all about its structure. They've built this powerful engine for growth based on 3 core business pillars that all work together. Now, this chart, this is where things get really interesting. You'd think a connectivity company would be all about telecommunications, right? But look, that's just 8% of their revenue in 2022. The real story, the bulk of their business, is in digital products and advertising. Together, that's over 90%. This tells you they're not just building pipes, they're building a whole digital ecosystem on top of them.
Okay, but let's talk about those pipes for a second, the actual infrastructure. Take a good look at this number. 6,927 kilometers. What do you think that represents?
That is the physical heart of their entire vision. Their subsidiary, a company called WIFI, has laid almost 7,000 kilometers of high-speed fiber optic cable right alongside Java's railway lines. I mean, how smart is that? It's a brilliant and super efficient way to build a national data highway. And here's the thing. They are not doing it alone. This is so crucial. They've built this network of really powerful partners. They've got to deal with the National Railway, PT Kereta Api, to use their land. They're working with the global tech giant, Nokia, to roll out home internet. And they're partnering with national transport companies like Damri. This is just textbook ecosystem building. All right, so the vision is huge, the strategy is smart, but is it built on a solid foundation? Let's get into their financial performance and see if the numbers from their 2022 annual report can back it all up. First up, let's look at their top-line growth. Net revenues climbed from 391 billion rupiah in 2021 to over 461 billion in just 1 year. That's a really strong signal that demand across all 3 of their business pillars is not just growing, it's accelerating. But this is where it gets really impressive. Their net profit more than doubled in that same period. Think about that. That's not just growth, that's incredibly efficient, scalable growth. They aren't just getting bigger, they're getting way more profitable, which is a fantastic sign of a healthy business model. Okay, next up, let's look at a key metric for financial health that investors always watch, the debt-to-equity ratio. It's a simple but really powerful number. Basically, it tells you how much debt a company is using to run its business versus its own money. And for this ratio, lower is always better. It means you're more stable. And Surge's number for 2024? Get this. It's just 0.33. That is remarkably low, especially for a company that builds massive infrastructure, which usually costs a ton of money. This signals incredible financial stability and gives them a really strong foundation to fund their future plans without taking on a bunch of risk. So, we've got a clear mission, a smart strategy, and a rock-solid financial base. The question now is, where are they going next? Let's take a look at the horizon and their specific plans for the future. You can see a very clear and deliberate strategy playing out here. That Nokia partnership in mid-2024, that's them kicking off a massive push into home internet. Then, as we get into 2025, they're tightening up asset agreements and, most importantly, getting ready for a major capital raise. And here is the rocket fuel for that next big push. They're planning what's called a sukuk ijara. It's a type of Islamic bond to raise up to 1.25 trillion rupiah. That is a lot of money. And seeing major banks and securities firms signing on as underwriters, that's not just a minor detail. That is a huge vote of confidence from the entire financial industry in Surge's expansion plan. So when you put it all together, from laying thousands of kilometers of fiber to building this diverse digital ecosystem and then securing the major financing for what's next, it really seems like all the pieces are falling into place. It leaves us with one big question to think about. Are we watching a company that is building the definitive roadmap for Indonesia's fully connected future,